going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression podcast, brought to you by MSOGD Rocks or Rock and Metal Thrive. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is December 1st. One day before I become an old man at 26. But before I venture into that, I've got a great podcast episode coming up for you today where, in conjunction with MVK Music Group, we're going to be interviewing a good number of their bands in the month of December, and this is the first one of that series. So, this band comes out of Massachusetts, and we not only talk about their influences where we got more like grunge, hard rock, and 80s style in their music, but we also talk about what they're doing in 2020 and why streaming is going to become a thing in 2021 for them. Mario Kart, anybody? And we also throw some ideas around there. But the big meat and potatoes that I think a lot of you are going to want to listen to is in the second half of this episode. Because not only do we talk about what's happening in the world with COVID, especially as we end 2020, but we also take a look going forward as to what Ticketmaster has said about their plans for shows once they return in a COVID world. And also bringing up potential change in the music industry. So we really dive deep into this. We really get some ideas flowing. I really want you guys to check them out. So please welcome, from Massachusetts, the band Young Other. Are you ready? Let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listening to the Chord Progression podcast. We've got a series of these coming up with MVK Music Group as we are able to get connected with them and talk with a good amount of the incredible bands that they have on their roster. And this is the first one coming up with that. So out of Massachusetts, please welcome the band Young Other. So guys, welcome to the Chord Progression podcast.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having us.
What's up?
How's everything going out there in Massachusetts at this current time and state of the world?
It's getting cold and lockdowns are happening again.
Yep.
It's cold and then warm and then cold again. And then, more lockdowns. Lockdown 2.0.
On like the 40th day of August.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it?
It took a break for a little bit and then it came back.
Hey,
Yeah, right.
Don't worry. I dealt the
vacation.
same. I dealt the same thing the previous week or the previous couple days that you guys felt, because I'm over in Wisconsin, so it's like it all ends up drifting that way anyway with like the warm weather, and then all of a sudden like the next day you'll go from like being like in the 70-degree weather, enjoying it. You're outside just hanging out in a t-shirt and shorts. All of a sudden, next thing you know, boom! In the morning, it's 29 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like you
We've
get
already
out,
had snow.
You
you
guys
go
are
to
getting
work
snow
or
out
something, and you're in pants and sweatshirts, and then by the end of the day, your balls are sweating off.
You're really like what? Who was it from UFC? Derek Jones just like ripped off his shorts. Like, why'd you rip off your shorts? Because my balls was hot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my God. That's classic.
I don't understand.
No, it's a very understandable thing if you've ever dealt with just that. You're dressed up for the morning, but then when you leave work at the end of the day, it's even hotter. Like basically the temperature doubles, and you're just like, shit.
Yep.
Well, as we jump into this podcast, because I'm not necessarily sure how many of my listeners really know of you guys, so I always like to start out this way to see also what the answers are to these questions. So I'm going to have you guys go and introduce yourselves with who you are, what you do in the band, and then my favorite part about all this, and it's going to put you guys on the spot. We're going to go all like high school, college welcome week sort of stuff. I want to know a little fun fact about yourself, but the kicker is it has to be the wackiest thing you can think of. I've had people give me their Tinder bios, which is always my favorite. I've had people tell me their like old YouTube stories of like when they were creators when they were like in like 2006, 2007, having famous pets for some reason, like an Instagram or Twitter cat. I mean, I've heard a bunch of random ones, but whatever you guys can think of as the wackiest, you guys go for it. So whoever wants to start, I will let you guys take it.
Oh,
Who wants to take it?
Cricket.
I can't even.
I'll go.
Already.
All right, let's go.
I am Adam Neufeld. I am the drummer for Young Other. And what'd you say? A random fact or?
Random wackiest fact you can think of about yourself.
He had a cat that was 30 pounds and he had a massive heart attack on the kitchen floor and died.
Okay, I wasn't expecting
my
that as the
God.
wacky fact, but
That sounds like it's
goddamn.
about your cat, not about you.
Oh,
But I mean, it works though. I've had stories about that too, where it's like people have had the famous Instagram cats or the Twitter cats, and he had a cat
Yes.
that was overweight and they had a heart attack on the kitchen floor.
very obese.
Yeah.
That's like the complete 180 from like the other cat stories that I've heard as the wacky fact. So this is a little bit different. All right.
All right.
All right. Who's going next? Am I going next, or Devin, you going next?
Oh crap! All right. Well, thank you. Suggest my name because you want me to go next because you're still thinking of something. Well, I'm Devin Stetson. I'm the bassist and I do back vocals and young other. And wacky fact, I'll bring it back because we were talking about it before we did the recording and stuff. I have been known to wear really wacky slippers like Snorlax stuff. And before this, I actually had like favorite Pokemon, right, is Charizard, and I had a pair of slippers of those, and I wore them until they were like just rags. So that's kind of weird and quirky, right? We'll just go with that. I figured it goes with the trend.
That is weird and quirky, and also a little bit interesting due to the fact that before you guys all jumped on the call, I was playing Pokemon Go. So
there you
wow,
go.
look at that.
Yeah, I'm still on that. I took a break for a while because I just didn't want to play it after a while, and I'm still stuck on level 33.
Oh man. I know your pain. I feel you.
I'm getting up there though. They like once they introduce like the battle system though, like I've been really getting into that. I don't know why. It's just I find that more fun and more like strategic in a way.
Yeah.
I haven't played in like a year. I'll have to hop on.
I don't know. They've added so many Pokemon that I've completely just like lost it. After they started adding like Gen 4, I'm like, nope, I'm pretty much like done.
Yeah.
And now I'm back into it. It's like I'm only using Gen 1 through 3.
Right. It's the only ones that are the that count, you know?
Yeah.
It's too many now.
Oh yeah, way too many.
I probably still know all of them because I play with Kaylee now.
Yeah, for real. You get the secret
on my
child.
Pokemon championship genes down to my child.
Oh yeah.
Not bad. Well, how about this, Brandon? You want to go next?
Yeah, Dale's still thinking. I can see it in his face.
Well, yes. I don't know. I have like a couple, and it's just I don't know. You guys are giving like real world things, and I'm like,
yeah, you guys are giving like these really nice, like family friendly ones. All my weird, wacky stories are like rated R and M.
I'd rather hear them than not hear them. Honestly, I really don't care. Up to you though.
Brandon, tell them about the video Nate made you. That's like PG-13.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm Brandon. I play guitar in your mother, and I'm a floating head.
Oh no!
My random fun fact of the day is when we were shooting the video for Between the Few acoustic, we rented out a haunted castle in New Hampshire. I can't remember if it was my 22nd or my 23rd birthday, but my good friend Jared Moore invested into my one day to be Brandong thongs and got me a thong with my face on it. So I put this thong on, and Jared happened to be there hanging out for the night and fell asleep in the hot tub. So I dipped my ball into one of his hands, woke up with my thong and my ball directly in his face. But then, as we were shooting the video, our videographer and also good friend Nate got a perfect, beautiful scene of me sexually walking down the stairs in my thong.
Beautiful.
Oh man.
Okay, when I'm thinking wacky fact or like wacky story, that definitely is up there in the top 5.
There you go.
Yeah, Fred, and there we go.
But what surprises me is the fact that I'm looking at you right now and you're just a floating head. So did you like lose your body somewhere in there, or?
That's the night he lost his body.
I sold it to fund the rest of Brandong thongs.
You gotta trademark that name.
Yes.
Man, dude. I should have went before you because I have nothing that comes close to that.
I'm still thinking. You can see it. You can see it in his eyes.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go with like, all right, so my name's Dale. I am the vocalist of Young Other, and I write the words to the songs, and it's a lot of fun. But my, I guess, wacky fact is before I really started getting into music, so around like 14 and 15, before I was in a band, I was a very heavily I gamed a lot, and I had like my own clan and everything, and we had like 100 different people, and I was this I was like, I ran the whole thing, and we were just MLG people before there was actually MLGing. So it was like a lot of, I don't know, I was very like antisocial in high school. So it was like, this is my realm. And then I became social and found music, and here I am. But that doesn't top Brandon's story. I don't think I have anything.
I don't think
none of us have lived that colorful of a life. Not like Brandon.
I could top my own stories, but I'm not going to for the sake of the public ear
Oh,
holes.
I know. Jeez.
Oh, I've got a feeling you easily could, but for the sake of the public, for the sake of the years of the for the younger generation out there that might not be ready for something like that, we'll keep that on the down low. I guess.
Save the ears of the innocent.
Behind the scenes.
But what I'm more impressed about is with Dale, with your clan, just like for gaming, like you had 100 people deep, and what kind of games are you playing with this kind of stuff? Because especially with today, then when we're shooting this on the day that PS5 released all across the world, and I was all night and all day today, all night last night and all day today. I was online trying to get one for my brother because he really wanted one. I really didn't care, so I'm like, I'll help you out, try and get this. Oh god, it didn't go well. And then he randomly gets one on PlayStation's website. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm just, and I had it on like for the 3 p.m. Eastern time drop on Walmart. I had it in the cart. I was at checkout, and then all of a sudden it like aired out on me. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! I was pissed. Also, my brother texted me, "Oh wait, I got one. Don't worry."
Like I had a lot of friends who same thing. They were literally at checkout, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, out of stock, and it's like, it's pretty crazy. It's funny that you say PlayStation because I'm a PlayStation player, and back in, so it was like 2009, 2010. I played a lot of Call of Duty. It was like Modern Warfare 2 when my clan was really like active, and like, you know, the quick scopes and all that stuff, and then we went into Black Ops, and I just kind of started. I mean, I actually still talk to a couple of the people who were in the clan at the time. It's weird. It's like you make these internet friends and they never kind of like go away, and they're just an important person to your life. And but it kind of fizzled out when I really started playing music, and I really started. I don't know. I just enjoyed like the real life experiences, and I enjoyed like going out to these shows, driving to different states, and you're meeting different people that way. It's like a whole different world. But now with things being back into the digital age, with the world being shut down, we've been kind of talking about how we can start growing our fan base through digital realms. And I've been talking back and forth with Brendan about really getting back into gaming and setting up like a streaming thing for Twitch, and like getting a whole setup, like dual monitors and everything. I've been kind of browsing that, but it kind of depends on where things end up in January, if we are going to be shutting down or if things are going to be opening up for us to go tour again. So it's kind of like on the fence right now, but I did a lot of research today on what can I do and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, if the world is shutting down, I might be willing to dive into this back into gaming and see what could happen.
Well, I would definitely suggest it if it's something that, you know, if we end up shutting down again, because I know there was something coming out the day that we were shooting this that for President-elect Joe Biden potentially shutting down the country for 4 to 6 weeks once he gets in office to try and combat this before the Pfizer vaccine is readily available for public use. So that could potentially be something that you guys do in order to amplify your fan base, amplify your sound and your music all throughout the internet. And this isn't something that, you know, you're going into completely blind either, because during this time, we've seen musicians hop on to places like Twitch and really start to grow their music and really continue to grow their fan base through streaming. I mean, the top 2 that I can think of are Matt Heafy from Trivium and, of course, Ronnie Radke, because he's like always in the top 10 of Twitch subscribers right now. It's like, you got musicians that are in top 10 for streaming. Like, how does this happen? Yeah. So there's definitely a market there.
Matt alone is just, I mean, he even games and he does a lot of, like, he plays with Trivium and all that stuff. And that's kind of like what we've been diving into. We got a whole setup now at our practice space that we can live stream directly to YouTube or Facebook or whatever, and Twitch. And we're thinking about creating a Young Other Twitch as well. And, you know, maybe once a month we'll do a live stream concert, or we'll do like different things where all of us sit together and we're all playing video games or something and laughing and engaging with the audience and stuff. And it's like, this is what I've been kind of seeing of really how we can push and grow our fan base when right now, Facebook doesn't even want bands streaming to their platform. They're saying they don't want this. They'll ban your pages and stuff like that. So it's like we have to look for this outside source. And I mean, Twitch, it's like you could be playing a game, and all of a sudden some kid, oh wow, yeah, they just happen to be on your stream, and then they're like, oh well, who's this young other guy? And then they click on you, and then they're like, wow, they play music, and then they like that, and they're like, oh, and they start sharing with their friends, and it's like we have this dual niche. We're musicians, we can play, stream, and perform music, but then we can also game and have a lot of fun. So it's like I think this is a very big future step, and I'm willing to do it. I've been getting pretty amped to take this on.
One thing that just kind of popped in my mind through that is when I'm thinking about the bands and the musicians that, or specifically just the musicians that are on Twitch themselves and what they're doing. I mean, taking a look at Mad Heafy, because he's not only gaming, but he's also doing a lot of just playing music for people, not only trivia music, but he's doing a lot of other covers. Well, like I remember he did Acoustic Stabbing in the Dark by Ice 9 Kills on his channel. But one other thing I'm seeing from other people too is like, take a look at Ronnie Radke, where he's reacting to other people's videos, reacting to like his videos, which, not gonna lie, I find some of those absolutely hilarious. But what I haven't seen, and I think this could really work for you guys, is because if all four of you guys are down for this, it's like you guys are all on Twitch streaming and people are watching this, and it's like whatever game you're playing, whoever loses, like if you guys are playing like Call of Duty, whoever has the worst like KDR after about like 5 or 6 matches, or if you guys are playing Mario Kart, whoever loses the race, like there has to be some sort of like wacky punishment or like wacky little thing you have to do if you lose, just to kind of have like that like party mentality in there as well. And people are always gonna be wondering, okay, what's gonna happen when this person loses? They're gonna be rooting for some people to lose because maybe when they lose, it's funnier what they have to do. I mean, there's something there, kind of like a weird like Japanese game show kind of style Twitch stream.
Yeah, no, that's a wicked good idea. And these are things that we're starting to try to come up with too, because we were thinking like, between the four of us, some of us would be streaming different days and different times and stuff like that. And then once a month doing like a young other in the living room kind of thing. And the four of us sit together and we're doing something like this, exactly like this. This could be like a 3-hour stream where we're just playing different games, we're laughing, and this competition thing is even funnier because, like you said, it gets people like involved and says, oh, I want to lose, and then like people could even like kind of bet on it and stuff like that, and I think it's going to be a cool realm, and I would recommend this route to a lot of different people too, if anybody's listening, because this is a very interactive way to still, I don't know, be a community with people.
Right.
Yeah, well, I would say, what do you guys think about that kind of an idea, like doing like that competition style? Because one thing I remember back when I was in college, big thing we were always into was either playing Super Smash Bros. Or we'd play, what would we call it? We called it Don't Drink and Drive from Mario Kart, where it's you have a beer. Yeah, you have a beer.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that.
Yeah, you got to finish it. Well, for everyone that doesn't know, you got a beer and you have to finish the beer before you finish the race. However, your cart has to be at a complete stop in Mario Kart before you, or like while you're drinking. You cannot be moving in any sort of way. So, and like always the competition between my friends that always drove off of that, and how we were always like having fun, but also like the competition screaming at each other. Sometimes some people would lose like 3 or 4 races and we'd make them do something. Or if we were playing FIFA or like Madden or 2K, if you lost by a certain amount, you would have to write a public apology to that person on your Facebook page, say that you are the inferior player. Like that kind of stuff just really gets some of the people, like some of the fans, it's going to get them more invested in it, because they're going to want to see, who loses and what's the funny thing that's going to end up happening to that person when they lose.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
I played the drinking Mario Kart game like 4 times and I have never lost.
You're on, Brandon. I think that's a challenge.
I'll destroy you.
I will
Rainbow
not.
Road.
Oh
Drinking
God.
rules.
I will not divulge my secret to winning Don't Drink and Drive Mario Kart, because, well, Brandon might actually know it, but then it's funnier if you guys don't know, because then he kicks your ass and then you guys have to do all the wacky stuff.
Right.
I'll lose a few times, lose a bet, and then learn how to win, and then win once.
I don't know. You might have had a lot to drink at that point where it's like you're trying to figure out how to win, but then it's just like, I figured it out and everything. And you're playing Rainbow Road, so you're always flying off the edge.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah, it does.
Oh
Wow.
man,
I'm like a
but
sorcerer with this.
you saw it here in recording. I'll challenge Brandon to Rainbow Road drinking Mario Kart. The floating head versus the long-haired guy in his living room.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, again, I definitely would suggest going into that because basically I've seen the Twitch thing work, but how do you set yourself apart from every other musician that's on Twitch right now, every other Twitch stream that's on there right now? And having that band-wide camaraderie, but also that band-wide competition at the same time too, it just adds more fuel to it that not a lot of people are going to get from other Twitch streamers.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like we could do acoustic live streams. We could do whatever we wanted, and then it's just you have two separate niches rather than just being a gamer or rather just being a musician. It's like we all play video games. We're all musicians, and I feel like a lot of people can get behind that.
Yeah, and then you can always have the chat rolling along on the side too of the screen, so all of a sudden like you can see people like maybe start asking questions about Young Other, asking questions about your music, and all of a sudden bing bang boom, you're just going forward with it and you're able to talk about your music, and then people that are your fans already might be able to start asking you questions that are a little bit more in depth with it, and then you're able to answer those questions and connect with your existing fan base in that like kind of more intimate realm that you would at live shows or after live shows, talking with the fans. That is not happening right now that we miss. So damn you, COVID.
Yes.
I know.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then now it's like, now they might lock everything down again. I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. Mostly because I'm pretty sure you guys can attest this as well. But man, I miss live shows.
Yeah.
100%.
Preaching to the choir, man. I feel that.
What was the last time you guys played a live show?
What was the what?
When was the last time you guys played live?
The day the country shut down.
It was many moons ago
March
when I was a
13th.
young boy.
On the 13th?
Yeah, March 13th, we had a show in New Hampshire, and we played, and then we went home. We were actually on a run, so we were going to be headed to New York, and we were like on our way to New York, and then we got a call from our tour manager saying, hey, show's been canceled in Syracuse, New York. You guys got to turn around. Everything's shut down. And we're like, whoa, what the heck's going on? So we drove back home and then haven't played anything since.
And that is honestly, it's especially with what happened in 2020 and then with what was happening with the presidential election, with all the kind of it was kind of like nervousness within the country. I felt like live shows would have been completely useful because when it comes to live shows, everyone's just there for the same reason. For how they got to that reason is a different reason, but everyone's there because they have a positive connection with the band that they're going to go see. Yeah. So, and everyone's just there to have a good time, enjoy listening to one of their favorite bands, and bing bang boom, you just have a good time with it.
Yeah, having that unity is almost required in a time where everything's so divided. There's almost two sides to everything, and concerts are just like brings everyone together. Music brings everyone together. I think the world needs that more than ever for sure. So having live concerts not be around, it's like, oh man, kick them when they're down.
Yeah. Exactly, because like there's times where it's like with me, I miss going to those shows and just most of the time miss being in those mosh pits. That's always my favorite thing.
Crowd kill.
I don't go full crowd kill on it either. I've taken a couple of hits from some of those crowd killers, and it's not fun. But at times, like there's some of those crowd killers. It's like after about 2-3 minutes, all of a sudden, it's like the pit knows who you are. The pit will make sure you pay.
It's very true. Oh man, you think they just are like all pent up because they just missed going to the gym or something a couple of days of the week, and they're like, I gotta let it out here now. And they just flail by limbs, aimlessly.
I have no idea. The first time I went to a concert, I was like 14, 15. Somebody told me that mosh pits are like fight circles, that you just go in and you pick a fight with somebody. So I had no idea. So I went in. Somebody like pointed at me, and it was probably like to like run and bump into each other. And I just geared up and I punched the dude right in the face. I had no idea what was going on. And everybody just loved it. And everybody just started attacking each other. And I was like, damn, they weren't kidding. It's just a fighting pit.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I'm saying most time it's not a fighting pit unless someone starts it, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon.
Well, yeah, I learned that afterwards, and my friend told me, he's like, "Why'd you punch that guy?" I was like, "I thought that's what you do."
Maybe not.
The floating head has spoken.
Yes.
Oh god, I mean, I've seen a couple of times where some fights have broken out. I've been in a fight. I've taken some pretty nasty hits to the point where, you know, I've bled a couple of times. I've almost broke my nose, you know, just the huge. But it's all in good fun. However, I did get a little lucky though, because the time I almost broke my nose, it was during I was seen falling in reverse. And all of a sudden some guy, like, I was checking my nose to see if it was broken. I saw no blood, no pain. I'm like, this is really weird. Guy pulls me to the side, and I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I saw you take that hit. You're leading our side for the wall of death. I'm like, ooh. And I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I see the guy that hit me in the nose, and I literally did what happened to Brandon. Like, I just pointed at the guy. I'm like, you. And then the guy looked at me, just literally did like went all Morpheus on me, just picked his hand, was like, come on. Just went up, leveled him with my shoulder, and then all of a sudden, like, 3 people were there to pick him right back up. It's like, yeah, we're even now. But that was like the last time I was in a full-on mosh pit, and that was February. So it's been a while.
Man.
Oh man. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm thinking about injuries and stuff. I haven't really been, the worst I've been injured at a show wasn't even in a mosh pit. It was actually at the Fet. We opened up for Puddle of Mud, and we were like all just kind of like chilling in a line, you know, had a couple beers and stuff. And there's this one dude rocking out really hard, and I got elbowed in the throat because I'm 6'2". Yeah, I'm like, and then like I was spitting blood out and stuff, and I was like, what the fuck? It's like not even a pit or anything, you know? It's Puddle of Mud. Like,
Oh,
I
no.
don't know. Maybe some people mosh to that, but I'm sure Brandon and Dale remember that stuff. That was crazy. And that was Adam's first show with us too, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yep.
That was right after we recorded songs that aren't released yet.
Oh boy. See, now you're getting me.
Out.
I'll say now you're getting me all excited for this stuff, guys. Come on. I mean, I feel like pushing on it, but then also like if it's not released yet, then maybe they're not gonna want to talk about it yet. So maybe we'll just let them just talk amongst themselves with that.
I don't know. We might just get
one
to
of
the
those
point where
2
we're
songs we just shot the video for not too long ago.
Yeah, September we shot that.
And then aren't you shooting one sometime in November? Is that for the second one?
No,
That's
not. We're shooting this actually in 2 days. But that song's coming out in January, and it's part of the Luminous Element Reignited, like re-recording of our old Luminous Element record, and like we re-recorded all of these during quarantine, and now we've been releasing them. And this past Tuesday we dropped Slighted's music video, and so we have a couple more until Leave It Behind, but we're shooting Leave It. Well, I guess I just gave it away, but we're shooting Leave It Behind music video this coming Saturday, and that'll be out in January. Just because if everybody hasn't put pieced the puzzle together now, but yeah. But the video that Brandon is talking about, that is a video that's coming out on a later date, and it depends on if the world is opening or not opening, and what is in between that.
Understandable. I mean, you have to play off with what the world is giving you in terms of what you're able to do, whether it's we're going to be able to go and you guys are going to be able to go play shows, we're going to be able to go and see you guys play shows in the next couple of months, or if we're going to go into full shutdown mode again. It's like, all right, we got to wait for this crap again.
Pretty much.
Yep. It's rough. It makes you, so like our producer and the studio that we go to has been closed since March, so you know we can't go and get the professional recordings that we have like on the Between the Few EP, and it hinders us. It's like, okay, well, we have a couple songs that were already recorded prior to COVID shutting down everything, and it's like, do we release these and then have nothing because everything's shut down forever, or do we save on to these and just kind of try to buy some time until the world really opens and we can have an explosive reentry? But it's hard. It's like, and especially this next 2-month period where while the election and all that stuff's going on, it's like you'd either have it both ways. So it's like we're kind of planning, we're planning towards if we are shutting down, and what we're going to do, and we're kind of we already have a plan that's kind of set if things are going to stay open. So it's like it's constantly just trying to be innovative and seeing what you can think of.
And that's honestly the way you have to do it in today's world, just because, again, we don't know exactly what the hell is going on anymore. So to make sure that you have a different game plan for if the next couple months we do go in shutdown mode or if we keep everything open, then you're able to adapt to basically the environment and what it's going to be. And when it comes to just getting basically more material out and growing the band as a whole, you're going to want those plans in place so that you're not trying to play catch up when something happens. You're going to want to be able to be out in front of it so that basically when things are opening up, you're going to want to be out in front of it so that when people are thinking about going to see live music and people are starting to go see live shows, you're the band that's on their mind to go see.
Right.
Yeah, we got to give them a reason.
Exactly.
That was kind of part of the decision in doing like a DIY style for the Luminous Reignited. When we released those tracks originally, it was the first time I'd ever recorded and mixed anything, and I had zero idea what I was doing. We did it with like a $200 15-watt amp that you could plug into a USB. I recorded guitars and bass through it. And then we used Shure, what was that?
That's 58. Yeah.
For the vocals. And the drums were off a half-pirated version of Superior Drummer, which didn't have a full kit.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, and you can hear it. It sounds really bad, but those songs are really fun to do. So we redid them again with some of the updated technology we have and gear, and I got a little bit better at mixing, I think, I would say.
Oh, yeah. It's 3 years better.
With you, Brandon. It's definitely, oh, yeah.
But the thing by doing those reignited versions, too, is you're going to end up rehashing some things that you guys have done in the past, but with more and more people, again, staying online because we're in a pandemic, people have to stay indoors, especially as we're getting into winter as well, and another potential lockdown. People are going to be so into what's going on the internet. They're going to be constantly craving that new stuff, which is why when the first lockdown happened between March and April, why I was so big on a bunch of those bands releasing stuff and a lot of bands doing a lot of different things and keeping new music coming through the pipeline, and also just other crazy, wacky things, because people are constantly looking for new stuff to go off on. And like when it happened, I mean, the biggest band that really like take a full force of that, honestly, was From Ashes to New, because they put out a bunch of those like covers and parody of Wake Me Up When September Ends. Then they released this Panic single back in April. It's like they really just took the time and just like force fed it, all this new stuff into the internet. And people were looking for something. People were looking for fun stuff, and they had the fun stuff. And all of a sudden they released something new, and it's like, holy crap. So when you guys are releasing the reignited tracks, like, you're getting just this new, a more updated sound out there of what you guys are trying to go for. Even if you are mixing it yourselves, I mean, you're learning different things about it as well that you might not have learned had you not done this, or had the world not completely gone like the way it has been. However, you're going to be able to just figure out a couple of things, and people are going to get new stuff. They're going to be able to compare the original version to the reignited version and just see, okay, I can kind of see what they were trying to go with a little bit more, what they're amping up, and maybe what they liked a little bit on certain things, what they didn't like on certain things. And you're getting a full taste on exactly how the song that can be done in two different ways and what people are really saying about it and what people are really thinking about it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be interesting. There's a couple of things that we changed in some of the songs and we added stuff. So
yeah, because like I know the one that I really went into on this one was Breach, because at the time when we were recording this, because you guys came out with the reimagined version, like you said, of which one was it? Slighted, a couple days before this, but I was already working on a bunch of other stuff as well. So I really went deep into Breach because that was what the newest one was at the time when I was able to really go through all this. And you can definitely tell that they're the same song. It's just like a little bit of a re-release, re-recording kind of stuff, like what Black Veil Brides did with the Restitch These Wounds album, which came out at the end of July. Just kind of that kind of style. And it's like, there's definitely some updates in there, and there's some things that stand out a little bit more. There's some things that might not stand out as much, but you're definitely going to get both of those styles coming through and through on both songs, both the original and the reignited version.
Right.
And we kind of decided to go about this route too for when we go back to shows. It's a lot of these songs we weren't putting in our set lists, and reintroducing these is going to change up our sets a lot, and I'm pretty excited for it. I mean, Slighted's a 3-minute song that's constantly full. Like, the energy bar is just constant, and it's such a good song to throw in when you only have like a 25-minute set or something, and it's like you just played 5 songs, and hey, you have 4 minutes left. So here's the 3-minute slammer, and it's I don't know, it's it's nice to, I mean, and me and Brandon wrote these songs way back to like in 2015, 16 when we first started. So it's awesome bringing these things back and seeing our entire new fan base and react to these songs and bring Devin's vocals and Adam into playing them as well. And it just feels fresh again.
And that's really a good thing about it too. And I love the fact you're thinking about when it comes to playing a set as well, how it's going to reinvigorate your sets again once live shows come back. Because if you're gonna, I always like endings, like seeing bands end the set with something that's gonna leave the crowd with an impression of what they just saw. So you're gonna always want to just kind of be like, you're gonna want to end up being the band that when the fans leave the show, you're gonna want to be the one that the people are thinking about. And it's always that last, it's always like, there's always moments within the show that happen, but that last song is always like, okay, this is your last shot at it, so got to make it a good one.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good formula down to how we like doing our sets. And last year, what we were ending with and how we were portraying our sets, because we got like a custom light show and everything that's all programmed and stuff. And it really does leave a statement when you're your last song, because that's the last thing somebody's hearing. And then if it's catchy, it's stuck in their heads. And then like especially the energy and everything that's involved in it. And I'd have to say your first two songs and the last two songs are probably the most important songs of an entire set list.
Oh, I think I'd have to agree with you on that, because I'm thinking about like some of the concerts I went to go see. It's like that first song always sets the tone for the whole show right from the get-go. And then that second song, it's like kind of like a continuation to see where it's going. Then that second last song you're going with, because I've seen a lot of bands, they do that second last song, whether it's like right after, like doing into the encore, or it's like they're going to do a one song encore. It's the last song before they leave, and then you're waiting for it. It's at that moment, then you know, okay, do I stay for the encore or do I not stay? Because if it kind of fell flat a little bit, I see more people head for the door. But if it's something that's really gets the crowd into the whole entire feel of what's going on, the fans are going to stay and just start chanting for more. And I've seen that it work incredibly well at points. I've seen that just kind of fall flat at times as well.
Yeah, we haven't been on the part of an encore yet, but we make sure our last song in our set is like encore worthy, where it's just like, this is the, I mean, we haven't been like the headliner of a big show where we ever try to get an encore or have the opportunity to do an encore. So it's still nice to just go out with a bang and hear that people want more. That's another thing. It's like a lot of people be like, oh, I want you guys to play one more song. We're like, oh, well, you know, follow us on social media because we'll be back around and stuff like that. But
there was a few shows that we ran into. People tried to get us to encores, but we kind of like, we plan our sets to fill our gaps, and we don't want to walk into other people's like time. So
yeah, and especially if you're not that like headlining band, what that's gonna end up happening where you don't wind up basically stepping on people's toes, and all of a sudden, as time goes on, because of course like the majority of the people are gonna be there to see the headliner. That's just always the way it is with how everything is billed. So you don't want to just like, you know, basically it's just, if you're going to end up taking up more time than kind of what is expected at that point, sometimes what happens with those fans is they kind of get that negative taste, that negative reaction because, oh no, I got to wait longer for this band that I want to see to go on. Because I've seen that happen before with some smaller shows as well, where it's like some bands, God, I forgot which show I was seeing, but it was there were supposed to be 5 bands on. This was right before the shutdown happened. And the first one went on, then all of a sudden the second one goes on, and then the fourth one goes on. It's like, well, what happened to the third? Oh, it was like apparently their bass player never showed up. And as the headliner was getting set to like start moving their stuff on stage, all of a sudden this bass player shows up. So now they have to take all the stuff off stage so this other band can go on and play. And then it ended up delaying the whole entire show by like 45 minutes. And I don't remember the name of the band, but it's just like, it kind of like, as a fan, it leaves a little bit of a negative taste in your mouth because you're expecting this band to go on around this time, and now it's like, well, especially because I had to travel for this show too, and I was coming home later that night because I went to Chicago for it, so it's like I'm like, okay, the show was supposed to end around like 12:30. Now I might not get out of here till 1:32 in the morning. I'm not gonna get home till after 3 o'clock in the morning. That's where it kind of comes in where I'm like, oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Those
Oh, yeah,
freaking
that's
bass
rough.
players, man. Those bass players. Like, what are you gonna do? You know,
Oh, no.
ridiculous.
I don't know, man. What are you gonna do about him?
We're still figuring it out.
No,
All
well,
right, guys. I think I gotta hop off.
alrighty. Well, Floating Head Brandon, it was great to have you on while we had you on, and well, we'll continue on without you. But have a great rest of your night.
I will
See ya.
listen
Bye,
to the rest
Brandon.
We're
later.
gonna do that Mario Kart thing.
Oh, I'll destroy you.
Oh my God, what the
Thanks
heck
for
was that,
having us.
Adam? And now are we just watching Floating Head?
Yeah, he's.
Oh, there we go.
go.
Alrighty. Oh wow, now it's like seem like a lot closer now. All of a sudden, like everything blew up right in my face. Like, whoa!
Adam, was that your biggest fan up there?
This one,
Put
one of my
I'm
biggest
here all
fans.
week.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, how wide is this? You know, like a 30, 40-inch diameter? Yeah, diameter.
Something like that.
It's a pretty big fan then, man.
Okay.
It's a pretty big
Oh,
fan then.
I'd say.
All right, but jumping back more into the music with you guys as well, because I want people to also get a taste of your style of music as well. And when I was going through it, because I was trying to figure out certain things and really try and dive deep into it, and I saw on your website that you guys had videos, you guys just like talking about who you are, man, the stuff that you guys do, some of the other silly facts about some of the things that you do, but also some of the influences that you guys have as well and how that pertains to the band. And from the videos, I want to start with Dale on this one, because what I saw from you was bands like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Shinedown, and 3 Days Grace. So are those your, again, one, are those your influences, and two, how does that form into Young Other style, like in terms of being influenced by those bands?
So let's see. Well, Alice in Chains, like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, the whole '90s grunge era. That's what really kind of drew me into wanting to be a vocalist, because I just naturally had like an appeal to it, and I like there was so much raw, pure emotion in the voices and the lyrics as well. They were all phenomenal lyricists, and that's what really became my biggest influence when it became to singing and writing. And then, like, you know, that's in the '90s, and me being, you know, growing up in the being a teenager in like the tens, I guess, if you want to call it. You know, this band's like Shinedown, 3 Days Grace, and all these bands who just dropped epic records in 2008, like Shinedown with Sad to Madness, and 3 Days Grace with 1X, and all that stuff. And that really pulled me in as well. And I think for my musical taste, like the influence is there with having the '90s voice. I mean, that's something that everybody usually at the shows are like, "Oh man, he just kind of reminds me of like Lane Staley and like blah 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 blah." And I get that more often than not. And it's awesome that people can see that influence. But then they're like, "Oh, but there's something different to it." And that's what I've been really pushing myself over the past couple of years, is what makes it different, because we don't want to rip off those old bands. So I mean, I feel like the core, like, generalized band from like all of our other influences everybody has, is that we really kind of like sit on Shinedown and how they are like as an instrumentally and like production wise and stuff. And that's kind of where we've been pooling all of our influences into.
I kind of got a little bit of that, especially when I listened to Breach as well, specifically with the vocals, where people would relate to your vocals with Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. I got that like right away too. But the one thing I did notice, especially like on the reignited version, was it wasn't straight up like that '90s style either. Because whenever I think of that '90s style with the vocals, I mean, you're always thinking of people like Eddie Vedder, you're thinking of Chris Cornell, you're thinking of Lane Staley, you're thinking of Kurt Cobain. And always kind of like, they always have that like Seattle grunge style to them. It's like, then that's always the best way to describe it, with just, if we boil down their vocals to a chord, that's what it felt like. However, what I thought with yours, especially when on Breach, the only reason I'm like turning my head this way is because I did like a whole like write up note sheet style thing that I always do on certain songs. So I just don't want to mess up what I wrote, basically.
Sweet.
So it's like, it was a forcefully calm style, which is like a lighter grunge kind of style to it. So it had that feel to it where it was grittier. I mean, grungier is the best way to describe it, but it was calmer, but it's still as forceful as those. So that's, I think, where the difference comes in, where it has that same force, but it's like a calmer style voice.
Yeah, I can agree on that, and I think you might be getting that calmer side of things from like if you, I mean, even just the way the music was recorded back in the '90s, and like how, you know, when they hit the snare and stuff like that, everything just was open. So it's like like the reverb and stuff, because you know everything was recorded in a giant room, and it's different with our approach now, with the way we layer vocals, the way we track, and it's not just me singing one take and slapping a reverb on it and that being the overlay of the entire song. It's like there's, you know, harmonies, there's you know, multiple layers and stuff like that in when it comes to recording modern day style. And that's where I think like the more calm and less gritty side of the things come from the production end. But if you see me live, that's when usually people grasp onto that more. But I think it's a good aspect, because like, you know, people who might not know us and they're sitting in the crowd, and all of a sudden the singer just belts out, and there are people like, whoa, what's this? And then they're like, oh, but it's totally different. And that's where I think where that hook is. It's definitely more in the live sense than recording.
Oh, I would assume that, just because, again, when you get that live sense, it's people are going to listen and be like, wait, whoa, what's this? What is this? And that's just, they're going to get all excited about it and then just want to listen to it. Plus, when you have that 90s style as well, there's going to be a lot of people that really associate with the 90s music, especially people that grew up with it, or people that grew up, you know, later in the 2000s, where some of those influences were still had, and you could still hear some of those bands, like, or some of those singers as well, specifically like Chris Cornell, because when you, with Audio Slave in the 2000s, you're able to hear that voice, you're able to connect with it, and then be open more to, for someone like myself who grew up as a kid in the 2000s and teenager, like late 2000s, early 2010s, if I was going to get more in the 90s stuff, it was like Chris Cornell was the bridge that led me to it. Then all of a sudden it's like you get Kurt Cobain, you get Eddie Vedder, you get Lane Staley, and then you're getting all those grungier vocals in there as well to really understand what's going on. And when you hear that kind of style, you get that little bit of nostalgia tick to it. But if you're going to hear that it's something a little bit different, people are going to be intrigued by it. So they're going to be drawn to you guys and drawn to your band, especially in a live sense, just by hearing that simple fact.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like there's a lot of different things that people click with when they hear us live. It's like they hear the 90s niche coming from me, but then they also hear like 80s and like early 2000s like emo and stuff coming from Devins, because he's just got such a clean, high vocal.
The 80s is in the hair alone. That's
and then the hair.
Yeah.
So it's like
2000s
you have these different like draws, and people like they grasp onto that. I mean, the amount of times people come up to Devin and I and say the harmonies between you guys, the harmonies, even on like our recordings and stuff, and that has always been something that I've strived for in any of the music that I write, is because I have that huge liking to Alice in Chains when you have Jerry and Lane, but you know, we're doing it in a completely different realm of genre wise, so it's kind of giving it a new flavor of a duality vocals, and you really don't hear that much anymore. You don't hear you know, take bands like Disturbed and Shinedown, you really don't hear like anybody else of two people singing.
That is true. However, when it comes to Disturbed, though, with David Draymond's vocals, they're just so completely different than anyone else you heard that it just stands out. But like another band that was perfect, like when you hear like the two different style of vocals, not only was just the different styles that they have, but also how one guy could go from this really like haunted clean style to this angry scream style, is take Linkin Park, for example, with Mike Shinoda and Chester.
Oh yes.
Like that kind of style with how those harmonies work. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then like looking at like the video that was posted on your website that Dale or Devin was on, that was talking about his influence as well. You're talking about that like 80s influence in there as well, and like having more of like a high pitched vocal kind of style to complement and harmonize with Dale's. Yeah, now I was like, wait, I'm messing up on names here. They'll look at me go. I know I was gonna mess up at some point on this podcast, so there's my mess up for the day. But when it comes to Dale and Devin, when it comes to you guys harmonizing, when Dale has, or Devin, shoot, there we go again. When Devin has that higher pitch sound, I was like, taking a look at some of the influence that he was talking about, and you said one, and right when I heard it, I was just like, no fucking way. And it was Rush.
Yeah. Oh man, Geddy Lee all the way. For real. Yeah. I'm definitely Team Geddy.
Oh, easily. However, when it came to Rush, I was all Neil Peart on that one. I'm like, Neil Peart stands alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
The man with the plan.
Did you ever get a chance to see Rush live?
I did.
Adam,
I did not. I envy you, sir.
Jeez, no. Adam, you saw Rush live?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
First concert.
Your first concert?
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Get the out of here.
I barely remember it, but.
Six, I got to see him 2013, I want to say, was the only time I got to see him. And like the only thing I was doing the whole entire time was like my eyes were just like locked on what Neil Peart was doing. I'm like, how the fuck are you doing that? It's because like when I look at certain musicians at times, it's like I'm looking at them and there's things that I don't understand. Like when it comes to any kind of string instrument, guitar, bass guitar, whatever it is, I don't fully understand how like to play them myself. But then I watch certain guys, I'm like, okay, I don't understand how just to do that. But now I'm not understanding nearly even anymore. Like I'm even more confused. When it came to drumming, because I drummed as a kid, it's like I get certain things. However, there's certain drummers I was always watching. I'm like, okay, I know how to do that, but how the hell are you making this move and making this happen? And every time I watch Neil Peart, I'm like, how? Like, just how is this possible, man?
Yeah, he's a nut. He's definitely one of the best, if not the best. He's awesome. He's one of my biggest influences. But
no wonder.
I know what you mean about just like watching him and being like, what is he doing? It's just some of the things he does in his mind and how he puts it to the kit is just absolutely insane. And
I'll say now it's like we got two guys in the band that end up having Rush influences to them. Hell yeah, man!
That's how you get it good.
Have you guys brought any like their influence in that math rock style into your music at all purposely, or is it just kind of just something that if it does come in, it just comes in naturally?
I think like we do a lot of cohesive writing and stuff. There's been a few songs, especially with like the newer ones we've been writing in the shed writing sessions, I guess you could say, that have definitely been more I guess timing, like more timing variables and a little more like I guess colorful, not so straightforward in that. But yeah, I mean we definitely like I don't know the rock and roll thing. It tends to be more straightforward in its genre, but we have found ways to kind of take our influences and throw that timing twist in there here and there when the song calls for it, the mood calls for it. So we've definitely been focusing on writing with like moods and like trying to install like a feeling with that music or have like a theme, both with like audio and the visual we present, and lyrically and everything too. So I think, yeah, especially recently, we've been able to squeeze some influence. So maybe, coming up soon and in the years to come, we'll hear little dashes of that in the music.
And that'll end up just giving your music a little bit more diversity to work with. And then it'll might not like that, but it'll potentially show you things that, maybe you weren't willing to try in experimentation at the beginning of it. However, going forward, you might want to try something a little bit different due to the fact that you have the ability to give that a shot. There's always the potential to make something like that happen. And when you try all those different things, what I've seen end up happening is, again, it's like, okay, maybe this doesn't work, but you learn how different progressions work. You learn how different harmonies work within each other. So you just kind of get these ideas, and all of a sudden, maybe you're going to place it in a completely different sound that on paper doesn't seem like it's going to make sense. But on paper, and when you actually put it, like create it and listen to it, could be two completely different things. You could have the greatest idea when you write it down, but then you record it and it's like, well, that didn't work. Or you can have the wackiest idea to create a like full-on metalcore, deathcore carnival song and have it be absolute insanity and gold because you have a couple of ska band members playing the horns in the background. Like, it doesn't seem like it would work on paper, but hell, Ice Nine Kills did it, and it fucking worked.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying some different things and stuff. We are kind of branching onto like a new chapter and everything, and we have some well, the songs that we are planning on releasing next year, if everything kind of opens up, but if not, then it's going to be different. But the songs that we're working to compile into an next EP are all pretty versatile, but they all generalize around a certain theme. And I'm really excited for those songs because they are kind of all different, and it's a different way of writing that we've kind of started pursuing down, rather than how the Between the Few was more like straight up hard hitting rock. This is a little bit more versatile with the rhythm and like the drums, the bass lines and stuff. It's very focused on that, and topped with vocal melodies. So it's well, and the lyrical themes. But it's something that we're looking to grow into, and we have tons of different ideas. I mean, we're brainstorming ideas that are coming out in 2022, 2023, and it's like, I don't think as a band that we're going to stop writing anytime soon, whether we're playing shows or not. We're going to be writing, and that's a very, I don't know, thing that makes me really happy, because it's a good outlet for all of us. And I mean, we have ways of being able to stream directly to Twitch and stuff with full bands, like right from our shed. And it's over the next few years, that's going to become more of a reality. Even when shows open up, people aren't going to want to go out just yet. And it's like, I just feel I'm starting to really, I didn't think we'd still be in this lockdown. So now it's like, okay, I think this is going to become a very big part of our future.
That's a good way to look at it too. And one thing I do want to circle back to, a couple things because I definitely want to talk about live shows with you guys, especially something that Ticketmaster announced, but I want to loop back that a little bit later, due to the fact that I want to stay on something that I heard you say. We were talking about creating this new EP, and it's kind of based off of the same theme. Now, if you don't want to tell me what the theme is, that's okay. But if I want it, what I kind of want to know is, like, what's the general consensus on the theme? Like, is it based off of a certain event? It's based off of a certain emotion? Based off of a certain feeling? It doesn't have to be like you don't have to tell me exactly, but like if it's one of those three, just be like, yeah, it's based off of something that I felt at this time, maybe. I mean, just to kind of, because I've got a theory about this, so I kind of want to hear what it is.
So it's not a concept not a concept EP, if that's kind of like what you're thinking.
I wasn't thinking anything like a concept EP. I was just thinking, like, because you said it was like based off of like a certain theme, certain feel kind of thing. That's kind of what I was going for.
Yeah. So all of these songs and then like their lyrics are very, I want to say controversial based, but it's not. Like, it's not like, oh geez, like this could really like make people upset or something like that. It's controversial in the fact that it is all very moralistic like viewpoints that every human being holds on to, and whether they've like buried their conscience enough or not to not feel these things, it's going to hit them. And it's something that I'm very excited. I mean, one of the songs we actually wrote in 2019 when Adam first joined the band, and this song we were planning on releasing next year. This is the song that we shot the video for back in September. This was like the first song, and then we started writing these other three songs, and it kind of all fit in the same idea. And the song that we're releasing in possibly February that we shot in September is called Change Everything. People have seen us play it live because it was supposed to be released this year, but COVID. But that song talks about like telling the listener that you have the power to say everything's going to change in your life. You have the power to wake up tomorrow morning and say, I'm changing my life. Like you're the only one that can do that. You can quit your job. You can go get a new job. You can take on whatever. When I stepped into music, I lost a 5-year relationship, and I was like, and at the time the band wasn't doing anything, and because Brandon was off into a different band. And then 2 months later, he called me and he said, hey, I found a drummer and he wants to start back Young Other. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And I, from that moment, took every like ounce of who I am and put it into this. And literally a year later from that point, we were playing in North Carolina, we were playing in Indiana, we played in West Virginia, we were playing all over New York. We were on the road. It just became a reality. It happened. I said, this is what I want to do, and it happened. And it's like everybody can do that. You can do whatever you want. You want to become a trades worker, and you want to become a licensed trades worker and own your own company. You can do it. You can do whatever you put your mind to, but you have to jump with 2 feet in and ask questions later.
And the reason I want to ask that question is kind of the theory that kind of backs up this, because you're talking about with this song how, you kind of have that feeling of, you have the ability to change everything that's around you, because the only person that can directly affect something right now about your life is you. If you hate your job, you can quit it right away. I mean, you don't have to stay. If you want to do something else, you have the ability to just stand up and just go and do it. And hearing where the backstory kind of came in on your end, where when it came back to restarting Young Other back in 2016, following a 5-year relationship, where I'm getting with that is where you're talking about these seem to like these, sometimes maybe controversial ideas or opinions that the human mind might have, because you have dealt with some of these things personally. You're going to have the emotion from those moments come out. And the reason why I'm a big fan of that is because as those emotions are going to start coming out, what's going to end up happening is people are really going to feel this authentic and real emotion, because they're going to be able to connect with something that you went through, because that's what it sounds like. That's what it's going to feel like in that song. So that's really where the power comes through within music. And that's how the connection's made. And that's how I think raw original sound is made, because you're putting your heart and soul out there. You're putting your full emotion into the music, and you're letting the music dictate itself so that it properly expresses the emotion you're trying to, not trying to force something, just letting it happen naturally. And that's where people really, really get connected to it.
Yeah, and I'd have to say the 3 other songs on this EP, so there's going to be 4 total. Another little hint there. But 3 other songs on this EP that nobody's heard yet and that we're currently still writing. 2 of them are pretty much finished, but they are all wrapped around how we've grown as a band this year and things that we have all been working on in our personal lives. And that makes me extremely happy, because this year has been a trial for everybody in the world. But like, with what we have gone through as a band this year, and like certain things that we've grown closer, and it's like we were able to share certain things about our past with each other, and we're all working on our individuals like struggles that we all deal with. And this is like a very, the past few months we have really changed the core of who we are. And I think these songs really speak for how this year has been for us, and what it takes to kind of like I don't know, kind of be a light. And that's what we're really focusing on. I mean, it's kind of like an enlightenment of some sort.
And especially with what everyone's gone through in the year 2020, they're going to end up feeling that emotion of rethinking certain things and feeling reborn at certain points within their own thought process, because they've experienced different things. They've experienced being isolated. They've experienced no real human interaction. They've experienced having to deal with certain family events that might be traumatic or not, that not having that intimacy of basically being with the people you love. Like sometimes you're going to have to tell some of these certain, habits and events. Maybe if it's a death in the family, maybe someone got sick, you're not going to be able to comfort those people. You're going to basically tell them over the phone, and that might be it. And the only thing that's really, the only real kind of connection you have in there is your voice. Hell, people are texting some of this stuff now, and the only connection you have is just the fact that they hit the send button and they typed it out. And in your mind, you're trying to think about how they would say it. But that really is just kind of the lack of connection has made us rethink a lot of different things. And the fact that you guys have rethought of these things as well, that's going to come through in your music. That emotion is going to end up coming through, and people are going to relate to that, because we all went through this 2020, maybe not the same way, but we all went through it at the same time. We all went through it together in that aspect. So the emotion's going to be real. The connection is going to be real easy to make.
I can guarantee, speaking for everybody in the band, that if this year didn't happen the way it did, I don't think all of us, I personally would not be as close with my bandmates today as I am. Like I have and especially recently, like within the past couple of weeks, I have come to terms with, and it's a hard thing to do, I've come to terms with being okay if I were to never play another show again. And that's like, it's like somewhat heartbreaking for me to say that, but it's a realization. I am starting to become like I'm starting to live and be happy in the little moments of just being with my bandmates in that shed, just being with the four of us in that shed and writing. That's something that used to just be like, oh yeah, okay, this week we're having practice, whatever, we have a show in a couple weeks, okay, whatever. Now it's like, oh no, this weekend's coming up. We're all going to be together, and it's like I haven't seen many of my friends this year, and it's like these guys I've been able to see every single, mostly every single weekend, and that's something I don't take for granted because of everything I lost this year. And I like these little moments, these little times where I'm sharing with my best friends. This is what has become to mean the most to me over playing shows. I mean, we still keep in contact with all of our fans, and we love them, and we love all the relationships we formed. And we do our live streams and stuff, and we incorporate everybody, and we talk to them through there and messaging and everything like that. But it's we're still holding on to those relationships. But it's not about going to play a show and rocking out and having a good time anymore. For me, it's like it's the thought process that's behind these songs, that's behind the fact, like what it means to be in Young Other. And I honestly, if I had to go through this year again, I would, because I don't take for granted the relationships that we have with each other right now.
Either.
I'll say that's incredibly powerful. Devin, Adam, you guys want to add on to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, it has been definitely a trying period for everybody across the world, and to add on to what Dale was saying, like I could definitely say everyone's been a lot closer. Like, the band was already, we already viewed each other kind of like a family. So then, by the time COVID hit and everything started to shut down, it was a family going through this unprecedented time. And that helped us. I think a lot of the time in isolation, you're kind of forced to, look at yourself. And we were able to self-reflect in that time, but also have each other to kind of bounce that reflection off of. So I think there's been a lot of like personal growth with us individually. And because of that individual growth, it's kind of capitalized on the growth we've had as a band together and stuff. So, when it's COVID in a way, I feel like it's kind of, aside from like the obvious health tragedy and stuff, it's kind of been like a big forcive kind of, you have to look in the mirror this year. And I've been blessed to be able to do that with three guys that I call my brothers. And then obviously the team that comes with it too. So Nate has been there a lot of the time too, our video guy. And I feel like we've grown with him too. And so just that self-reflection and like that strengthening of that bond as a family has really been a really powerful element this year. So definitely with Dale on that one. And I think, that just the individual thing, it adds to how powerful growing as a group can be as well.
Very nice. Adam, I got to get your response on that as well.
Oh, well, it was pretty much what Devin said. He has such a way with words. It's hard to follow him up. But I think we've all been our own personal battle. Just always having back is really nice. And just, I agree. I've grown so much closer to them over the whole Rona than I had from joining the band until then. But I agree. I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I think everything happens for a reason. And I know that the rest of us believe that too. And I think I definitely wouldn't change anything. I love what we've become, and we're just a hell of a lot closer. And I think that's pretty damn cool. But yeah, pretty much Devin's words were what I had in mind. But I can't put words out like that because I'm not a wizard like Devin is. But
I'm just old.
It's like, oh, he has such a way with words.
Such a poet.
Such a way with words.
You're a poet. You didn't even know it.
Yeah, made a rhyme right on time.
Oh.
Rhyme something with orange.
Door hinge.
I was thinking the same thing, man. Oh.
Good one. Okay, I will have to agree with Adam's take. You are a poet, sir. I mean,
I can't take credit for door hinge. That was a Drake and Josh thing.
Yes, thank you.
So,
yes,
you're not crazy, Dale.
Well, I'll put it this way: the fact that you referenced Drake and Josh on the podcast brings so much joy into my heart. I'm a fan of it, man. I'm a fan of it.
I'm glad I could be in
Vegas.
That was like the last good TV. I feel like.
Well, I don't know. What was after that? Was Adventure Time? I think Adventure Time came after Drake and Josh. That was like my last Adventure Time and regular show.
Making bacon pancakes.
Yes, making bacon pancakes.
No, I have to agree with Adam with it being Drake and Josh, because there's no part of that show that beats when they're in the when they're having to rebuild that kid's treehouse and they pull the wall up and they screw it. It's like, Drake, where's the door? There it is. I drew it on it with magic marker. I'll cut it out when we need to. Go get the saw. All right. I see what you mean. Oh, do ya? You get that like super animated thing from Josh Beck, just like the head, just like.
Yeah. That show is.
They need to make a new Drake and Josh series.
Just remember, if you guys are writing vocals, you guys are writing lyrics. If you guys need to say anything with emphasis, say it twice for emphasis. Emphasis.
Oh.
All right, if I can quote Drake and Josh on a podcast episode, I know it's a great day.
Oh yeah. I'm happy. My heart feels happy.
I am too. And one thing I really want to talk about, you guys, because this is the first band I'm going to be able to get this take on because of when we shot this. I think it was the day before we shot this. Ticketmaster released their whole entire once relaunching concerts in a COVID world kind of thing, to where people that are going to attend shows that are under the that are basically supported by Ticketmaster, they will need to present either a proof that they have the vaccine or a negative COVID test up to 72 hours prior to the show. And I want to get your guys' take on that, as well as to what you guys think about that from the performer side of it.
I gotta be careful.
I know. I don't know, honestly. I have to do some research on that because I haven't heard that yet. But I wonder how, because Ticketmaster isn't everything. Ticketmaster doesn't run Blue Ridge Rock Fest or any of these other shows or local shows that happen across the country. So I don't know how well they're going to enforce that, and that could be a bad thing on their part. I mean, I don't know. It's because you got Live Nation as well, and they're their own entity. So it's like that might be a wrongdoing, but it could be a right doing in there for the people who are more concerned about going to those kinds of shows. Because if you go to that kind of show, you're guaranteed that everybody's going to have the vaccine or everybody has had a prior COVID test before that. So, I mean, those might be safer shows for people who are wanting to get back out into concerts to start going to. And I see no problem with that. But I'm wondering if they're going to make the performers, they're probably going to make sure the performers have the vaccine or something in that case for be able to play a Ticketmaster show. But I'm not too sure. I'll have to do some research on that.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. I could see that being a controversial thing for sure. Because I see the safety side of it, right, and that totally makes sense, and it gives us hope, right, that things will return to normal sooner than later.
Right.
But I can almost imagine just you see it on the internet all the time, just groups of people will be like, oh, I'm never gonna do that. I'm never, so you're gonna inevitably lose a percentage of people who are gonna go out to shows at least for some time before it returns to normal. So I could see that making things complicated, but it's also good to see some companies out there who want to try and get the ball rolling again. You know what I mean?
Especially big ones like
Ticketmaster.
in
a much sooner manner as well.
Right. So I guess take the good with the bad. I mean, some people are going to be, well, I know a bunch of people are not even going to let the vaccine near them. And I mean, personally, who knows? You get the vaccine and 40 years later, you got 3 eyeballs, but who knows?
Or speaking Russian.
Yeah.
I got 20/30 vision from 2020.
Oh god! But I have what you're talking about, Devin. We're talking about with people on the internet. Once that news came out, because I'm a part of a bunch of these different different music groups, different fan sites as well. So when this dropped, I got to see a lot of it, and it was split 50-50, where you had people that were that were fine with it because ever since live shows have stopped, people been clamoring we'll do anything to get back to live shows. But then once this came out, it was you saw half people like, I'm okay with this so I can go see a live show. And then the other half just like, oh no, this is invasion of my privacy. What's to come next kind of thing. And
Right. Yeah.
I think what Adam said might be the best way to look at it right now, where it's, this probably isn't, this might be a much more fluid situation than we actually think it is, to where this Ticketmaster is a major company, and not all venues and not all music festivals are supported by Ticketmaster or go through Ticketmaster for their ticket sales. Some do it in-house, some do it with Live Nation, some do it with a bunch of other different ways. However, this is the start of a conversation. So what's going to end up happening is, maybe this isn't going to be what they have right now might not be the end all be all thing. We'll find out in the coming weeks and months what that's going to look like. However, this is just, it's the start of something to where there's going to be people that aren't going to go anywhere near concerts because maybe for some preconceived notion about coronavirus vaccine, whatever it might be. But there's going to be some people that are just been dying to go to live shows since they've been gone, because that's what they feel. That's what they love to do. They feel like their family is there. They feel a certain camaraderie at these live shows, and they feel this certain like overabundance of happiness and joy when they're there. So the fact that there's a avenue to get them back, they're going to make sure they can do whatever they can to get them back and be back in those positions. So it's something where I've seen people for it, I've seen people against it, and it's pretty even keel at this point when I'm looking at it. However, I do like, again, what Adam said, where this is the starting point. This might not be the end all be all thing. However, this is something to get the conversation at least started.
Yeah. It starts that snowball. So hopefully it'll start to open up more doors and avenues as time lapses and stuff. So
I think it's a great starting point. I mean, especially for performers aspect like us. I mean, the majority of our income, I mean, we hardly make any because we're a local band, but the majority of our income comes from playing live shows. So it's like, for bands that want to get right back out playing, this might be their green ticket to even skyrocketing faster, because there might be some bands that are like, oh no, I'm not getting the vaccine, and it's just going to delay them another year or two. But like, I think this is going to be a very different approach for every band. You might have some bands saying, oh no, and focus more on the digital side of like streaming and all this stuff. And you might have some other bands saying, yes, we're taking this and we're doing this, and rising into the ranks that way. I think this is going to create an entirely different, I mean, even not even regarding the vaccine, coming out of this, it's going to create an entirely different world for the music industry.
Oh, I have to agree with you 100%. I've talked about this on different podcasts as well, not only with what this year and what this whole entire pandemic has exposed in the music industry to change certain things around when it comes to how independent bands make their money on streaming platforms, and hopefully getting them actual compensation of like 0.00014 cents per stream. And then also when it comes to, bands that are signed to these record deals, how these record deals are going to look going forward due to what happened this year with certain styles, certain protections, and, maybe some more freedom of ownership to the bands as well. And all it's going to take is, again, take a look at what happened with this Ticketmaster thing. What happens if Metallica does a new record deal and it's completely different to basically mitigate some of the problems that happened in 2020? That could be an absolutely huge thing and will reverberate down the line to all the other bands that are signed to deals and bands that are going to be signing deals.
Yeah, I even think on the money aspect, I don't think you're going to be seeing big money deals anymore, because I mean, look at I'm sure these music companies have been paying unemployment to the people who can't set up all the stage shows and the sound techs and everything. There's so the money factor, I think it's going to start here again, and then it's going to have to climb up to what it was in 2019, where where bands were making, when it was good for bands and everybody that worked in the entertainment industry. So now it's like, I'm curious on how these deals are going to be.
And all it's going to take is just going to take for one band to make, I think it's going to take, again, one of the big boys to make a new deal and see how that ends up playing out. Because one of the bigger influences, again, I'm going to use Metallica as the example because I think they're the perfect example for something like this. Say they change around their record deal, they sign to a different deal, they restructure it, and it's completely different, so that there's more ownership for them, but maybe more protections for their team as well. So especially their live show team, their roadies, everybody like that. then it's going to end up reverberating down to the rest of the music industry, because one of the biggest players change it, or if the Foo Fighters do something like that as well. And taking a look again, got to go back to the Ticketmaster thing. While they're starting it, it might not be the end-all be-all thing, but it's a start to the conversation, and we can see how things are going to evolve from there. It's like we all need that little push at some point to start it. And once we get that start, it's going to end up going downhill, snowballing to the point where you're basically going to be like Homer Simpson stuck in a snowball with just the hands, the feet, and the head popping out, rolling down a hill.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I'm curious, but it definitely is going to take one of those bigger bands to make that statement, because then it's going to be, it's going to become a trend, and then everybody's going to be like, oh, okay, well, this is the way it's going now, and we're going to follow suit. But I don't think local bands right now at this would be able to make it change like that. Because I have friends who are in bands who live in the southern states and who live west, and we've been going to shows, we've been playing shows all year, and we're over here. It's like you can't even play a show when people are like sitting down or anything, or if everybody has masks. So it's like, I'm watching bands play to like 500, 1,500 people, no masks. So this is all summer across the country. And it just makes me wonder, because it's like a state like Florida, I don't think they're going to require anybody to, they haven't been all year, to have the vaccine or wear masks in the shows. So it's like, it's going to be weird trying to like unify across state lines again, because every state has been different in how their approaches. Even where we live, New Hampshire has been a lot more open to shows and just everything, like restaurants and all that stuff, than how Massachusetts been. So it's like, we're seeing all corners up here, but we're not seeing show extensions like we have been from our friends down south.
Yeah, right. And like, because I'm from the Midwest as well, like I've seen that as well, where I saw a show up in Green Bay in July. I saw one in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Wisconsin in September. And like all the bands that I saw, I've all had them on the podcast before. I wanted to go support them. I wanted to go see them. And the one in Green Bay had about maybe 200 people, maybe like 150 people at it. The one in the middle of nowhere had like 50 at the most, and everyone was really spaced out at that one. But where this kind of comes in is, and then taking a look at other places, like Iowa's been having live shows. The Sturgis Biker Rally was like the biggest, like they didn't give a shit about anything with this. And right now in the Midwest, as we're shooting this, we're really struggling with a lot of the things. And it seems like a lot of the reverberations are from that biker rally, but I don't want to say that it is solely the cause, because there's probably a lot more causes than that. But I do see what you're saying, where it's just, you're looking at all these other different areas of the country and people are playing live shows. Hell, also across the world as well, because I've seen people over in Europe, they're playing live shows at different like people sitting down, people in like these like weird bubble kind of things, or drive-in shows as well. I know Skill did a couple of drive-in shows. Beartooth did one here in Wisconsin in October. So there's definitely different bands that are trying a lot of different things. However, it's going to be weird seeing what happens once everything starts back up again, because of, again, just where everyone is, how each state is going to end up handling this, and just what happens with not only what you guys are going to need as performers to play a show, but what we as the fans are going to need to do in order to get entry into these shows and make sure that everything is safe for everybody around us.
Right. 100%. And I think maybe on these new deals too, and the people that are working with these bands, I think this might really push the music industry to start having some form of healthcare to offer to these people that are working with these bands and stuff, because that's something I'm concerned about as a musician. It's like we're getting paired up with these management teams and stuff, but it's like, I'm going to be 26 soon, and I'm going to lose being under my parents' insurance. So I'm going to start paying this. Yes, I have a full-time job, but when I decide to push my full-time job away and become part-time or just stop because the band's taking off, how am I paying for healthcare? You know what I mean? Like, it's I don't know. This could really be a greater good that we're just not seeing right now, and that's what I hope it's going to be.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, but that is a huge, huge deal as well that I could easily see happening and really people pushing for. And to kind of come from a similar side where you are right now is, I'm turning 26 right before the end of the year. So once January 1st hits, I have to have my own health insurance. I do have a full-time job with a health insurance software company, so everything is still pretty good. But when I was under my parents' insurance, like earlier this year, I did have to go to the hospital once because I had to get my appendix taken out. And I saw what the bill was without insurance, what the bill was with insurance. I'm not going to say what it was with insurance, but it definitely wasn't what it was without insurance. Without insurance, just straight up out of pocket with no insurance, it would have cost me $62,000.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Wow. $52,000. Oh,
no, not 52, 62.
Oh, what? It's like a Denali. Oh my God.
I'd be like, just put that thing back in me and let it explode.
No, you can die that way,
dude,
man.
That's horrifying. See, like, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do for bands and performers? Like, this has to be something. This has to be a change for entertainers to be given some sort of like health insurance that they could pay for. I mean, maybe there already is, and I just don't know because I'm on a smaller scale. But like, this has to be some kind of like a widespread talk. I mean, not just healthcare because of the coronavirus, because this thing's obviously going to be around for a while. But like, in the sense, like, what if somebody like us, like me, my appendix starts to go. You know what I mean? How the heck am I going to be paying $62,000 when it's like I make like negative $200 from music?
Yeah, it's something to really think about, and I really like the fact that you brought it up as well, because I had not thought about that. And one thing that, especially when I'm getting in, because now just with the, of course, with after the election, with in between that time when there's a presidential election and the inauguration day, there's always going to be politics talking back and forth. And I'm usually talking to my parents like pretty much almost every single day at this point. And one thing that I'm always bringing with my mom is it's just, we're talking about certain issues, and it's that they're never black and white issues. There's always so much gray area in between that you're not really thinking about how it affects all these other things. And when it comes to this whole entire idea with like potential new record deals, I never even thought about health insurance for bands that are on those deals, or also for the crew members that are working for those bands. What kind of stuff does that happen? How does that work as well? That is something that is really interesting, especially with a lot of the bands that are trying to do these things to just generate, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, to generate money for their crew, for their roadies, for everybody that worked for them. I mean, people are trying to sell different t-shirts. People are trying to sell all this different stuff. People putting together those live stream shows just to support their road crew.
Mm-hmm. That's something that's on my mind as well, because we've brought in a lot of people over the past year that has started working with us. Like our brother Nate, like he does endless amounts of work for us. He's our FOH when it comes to our live streams, and he shoots a lot of our music videos, and he's just he is a huge part of this band. Regardless that nobody sees his face in our pictures, he's like a definitive part. But it's like that, he's gonna keep growing with us, and the further we grow, the further he grows. And it's like, I want, like, even before me, I'd rather him be okay and have health insurance, because we're pulling him into this. Same with the photographers and stuff that we take on tour with us and everything. It's like we want, and our tour managers, like, we want these guys to be getting the same kind of healthcare and care in general that we're given, because they're the reason why they're the reason why we can do some of the things that we're doing and can reach out to our fan base. And it's like I hope this becomes a bigger thing, because I over the summer, we saw the Save Our Stages, #SaveOurStages, and all these different things. And it's like, there 12 million people, I think, in the United States alone work in the entertainment industry that build all these stages and travel with these bands and stuff. And 12 million people, that's a lot of people that work these events. That's not just like the people that they hire for security just for the night or all of this stuff. And it's like, this is something what we need to think about. And hopefully coming out of this, coming out of a health crisis, we really start improving our options and the severity of the entertainment industry, because everybody seems to need it. Everybody keeps asking and wanting to go back to concerts. So it's definitely a thing that people need in their lives.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just, man, I when it came to the whole entire healthcare thing, I never even thought about it. But when you take a look at bands like, I'm using the big boys like Metallica, Foo Fighters, they've got such large deals. They've got so much money coming in that with their team, they might be able to provide that on their own. However, bands that are not to that superstardom level, like bands like, just bands that are big in the scene right now, and rock, hard rock, metal, heavy metal, metalcore, they're probably not able to provide something like that. Like bands like, I mean, I'll use like bands like where was it? Like bands like Underoath, bands like Ice Nine Kills, bands like Motionless in White. They've got a big amount of crew that they work with because of what they do. Bring Me the Horizon, another example, but they're from a different country as well, so that's a little bit of a difference. Also, I'm trying to say in the U.S. with this as well because that's where we're all from, and that's where our mindset really is. And that's what we know most about. But it's like with those bands, they have a big following, but they might not necessarily have a big enough following in order to provide healthcare for all the people that work under them. They might have to they might have to class them as independent contractors so that they can have them on and they can pay them, but they don't have to they don't have to like basically pay that health insurance so that they're able to have these crews do what they do, which then in terms of this whole entire pandemic, that could easily just change that conversation where these record deals might include riders to have a certain amount of the crew have health insurance under these record companies also provide to the bands themselves.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, they're going to be on the road with them. They're going to be exposed to them every day. So it's like, they're going to be contracting the same things that the musicians are going to be contracting. So it's like, they're on an equal playing field.
Oh, easily. And my God, I mean, now I'm like starting to think about this, like, how can I start pushing some of this stuff too? Because like all the times I'm hearing from things from bands that aren't signing these major record deals, these more emerging bands, the independent ones in the scene, and hearing all these stories about what's going on in their world right now, I'm also starting to think like, what kind of ideas can I have to potentially start a conversation, or what can I do to help this out? Because you never know. All these, well, put it this way, every single band started out as a small local band. Every band started out at that point. No band just ended up like, oh, we're going to start today and ended up being on a level that like Rise Against is on right now. No one ever started out like that.
No, that's the thing. And it's all that time in between, like starting at a band like us and where Rise Against is. And it's the ideals and the way you're approaching certain things and where you're gathering your insight and your where you're trying to go as a band as well. I mean, we the four of us talk all the time about like why we're doing music, why we're in this, and what we're trying to get out of it. And none of us are here to be the next big thing. We don't care about being that. It's like we're trying to bring awareness to certain things. We're trying to tell a story. We're trying to create a community where people can be themselves and people are cared for and people that just aren't alone. And we there's a much bigger message in just with us than just, oh yeah, we're a rock band and we want to play shows and try to do something. It's like we're trying to change the game, and that's actually a huge part of why we kind of teamed up with MVK, because their ideals and their morals are exactly aligned with ours, and creating a family oriented business and the way that they approach certain things and stuff. It's like we all take care of each other. We're all just a big family, and that's I mean, we have a huge group at home when we play our shows and stuff. It's like we'll play a home show in Fitchburg where we usually do it, and we only do like every 4 months or every 3 months, and right after that everybody goes to Buffalo Wild Wings, and there'll be like 50 of us that just show up at 1 o'clock in the morning at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Not
like, we call it the Yo Fam, and it's like we've created this family of awesome friends that like that's what we've been doing everywhere we go. And it's I don't know, it's these local bands coming up. I hope that they strive to really kind of change the game, especially coming out of this, when this is a good reset and we can kind of change what music really is, and that it's not all about being self-centeredness, but like using this platform and using these tools that you have and the voice that you kind of created to change the world, I guess, essentially, and change the world around you at least, and bringing different awareness to your fans. It's like, I mean, one of the biggest things that we really strive upon is like suicide and our veterans. And those are two very big topics that we stand on. And next year, the veteran thing will be a very big like noticeable thing, because we're currently working on a project for one of our songs that are coming out next year that has to do with our veterans, and we're creating a very big production on that, and working with some veterans and some veteran groups out of New Hampshire and stuff that are working to that we can use the song to bring awareness to, and they can raise money and stuff like that for veterans. But that's like what I hope music kind of starts going to. It's like people are using their platform, and some people start using it for mental health. Some people start using it for just causes like raising money for cancer and stuff. It's like that's one thing that we stand for, is being a band that I have no problem going to play a benefit show. I don't care if we don't get paid. We're raising money to put money towards finding the cure to cancer, to raising money for diabetes. That's what we're in it for, and that's what I hope that we can kind of get the chance to really, as the music community, start pushing towards, rather than just, I don't know, coming out of this. I just feel like this could be a really good chance for a greater good to come out of music, rather than where it was in the past couple of years with just there being bands. Like I hope there's something more that comes out of this, if that makes any sense. I mean, I was just kind of like going off there.
Oh, I get what you're saying, and I kind of want to close on that as well, just due to the fact that I think it kind of really sums up the whole entire conversation as a whole, where you talked about your music, talk about some fun stuff as well, but then talk about what's going on in 2020 and how certain things are opening up the conversation to how the music industry and live shows are going to absolutely change, and how they're produced, how performers are compensated, how the crews are compensated, how health insurance might work, how the fans getting to shows, how that might look, and really kind of bringing it to the point where I love how you ended it, Dale, because you're just kind of bringing up this whole entire feeling of, as a band, you want to make sure that it's not all about you. You want to make sure you're using your platform to promote your morals, your ideals, and not only that, but also create more of a family, more of a community sense around the world. Because I mean, everyone's so divided on everything these days. It's like anytime you bring up an opinion to someone, there's gonna be someone else that's gonna just like start hating on you for it, just because they don't agree with you and they have no idea what the hell the context even is behind it. I've had arguments before with people. I've heard arguments before with people where they're at each other's throats because they disagree on something. However, the end goal that they want to get to is the exact same thing. It's just how they're getting there is different. And that's where they're trying to be at each other's throats. But what you guys want to do is you want to use your platform to promote positivity, to promote being helpful, to promote being just the happiest person you can be, and creating a community of people that are going to end up supporting that. I mean, I think that is incredibly admirable. So I want to see you guys succeed the hell out of this.
Oh yeah!
Well, thank you so much. And I mean, we have a lot. I mean, like I said, that EP that's coming out hopefully next year if everything kind of goes as planned. But I feel like this is going to be a very definitive chapter of the band as a whole, with these 4 songs and their messages behind it. And I think it's going to be the beginning of where we're going to be escalating to as a band. So I think this year really changed us for the better, and it kind of gave us some more outlook on what this world really needs, and knowing that we can somehow contribute to what it needs. And I think that I don't know, I think coming out of this and where the path leads is that it looks like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It looks like it's going to be very plausible for a good unifying aspect to music, rather than just what it was before.
And I think that is a great way to say it too. So I want to close on that, because I don't think we're gonna be able to close on anything better than that, honestly.
Hell yeah!
Sorry, I'm like running on steam here now. I don't know if you can see it in my face.
I can see a little bit. Don't worry. I've been running on steam since Monday, so I'm just used to it by now. But before we sign off and send you guys on your merry way for the rest of the evening, Any last words you guys want to say? Anything you want to plug? Whatever it might be, the floor is now yours. So go for it.
Oh, I think, Dale, you said it best, man, right? Like, in a world that is so divided, let music be its unity. And if we can be part of that catalyst, let's do it, you know? And rock on, everybody. Or I'll do the classic, like, rock on! That whole thing, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go. What about you, Adam?
I don't know. I feel like
Say something about your cat.
Oh yeah. You might not the 30. Oh god. There.
Alrighty, well then, but, I think I'll take my turn to end this out. So everybody that's listening, you guys hear me talk about this all the time where, I went to Minnesota. I was an econ major. I know all about convenience and stuff and how you guys want convenience. So when it comes to everything you listen to, if you want to help be a part of that positivity that Young Other is going to bring to the world, if you want to make sure that, you're in the know with this band on every single aspect, all you're going to have to do is take a look at the description of this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio. Every single link you could possibly want for this band. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. If they got a TikTok, I'll throw it in there too. Their website where you can find their merch, where you can stream their music, where you can download their music. Everything is going to be in there for you guys. So you guys have no excuse, and I mean no excuse, not to get in on the positivity train with Young Other. So, yeah.
Yes.
Man.
Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for having us on. This is awesome. Like this kind of really really brightened up my weekend, and just being able to talk about this and how passionate you are for working with bands and talking to bands that are upcoming and stuff. You're doing a number on it as well, and it's people that you are that have these podcasts and have these shows are these stepping stones for bands like us, and it's creating a community, and that's what music is all about, and everything that surrounds it. So seriously, thank you so much for your time. And I had a blast.
Oh yeah, same here,
man.
I'm glad you guys had a blast. I always love hearing that. I always try and make it as fun and enjoyable for the bands to be on here as well, because I enjoy doing these more than probably anything I do for MSOTD Rocks or the Chord Progression podcast. This is my favorite thing to do for all of them. So, you know what? I'm just gonna say this. I'm just gonna keep that train rolling. Oh yeah.
Hey, you're killing it, man. You're doing a great job,
Thank you. And once live shows return, if there's a chance I get to go one of those like original shows where you guys end up at Buffalo Wild Wings at 1 a.m, and I see you guys there and I already got a beer, like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm making it happen.
You gotta take shots or something.
Yeah, we'll be like, Kevin.
Oh god, then that means you guys would be like, Kevin, I'd be like, guys, what do you want for shots? First round's on me.
Oh no!
We'll be like, we got Mario Kart on the bus, man. We gotta get you pregame for that.
Yeah.
4 tequila shots, please. Let's go.
Get it.
Yes.
Alrighty. So again, I want to say thank you guys for being on the podcast with the band Young Other, and I do not want to say goodbye on this podcast because I want to meet you guys in person. I want to see you guys live, and I want to see you continue on. I want to have you guys back on here again. So I can't say goodbye.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to end this with what I always end it with. See you later.
Till next time, my friend.
See you later.
Till next time, guys. Whoa, folks. That was my interview with the band Young Other out of Massachusetts, and bringing positivity into this world and everything all about it. And again, I love the conversation from the streaming to talking about Mario Kart and even going deeper into their music, along with the thought process of how the music industry is going to change from live shows to how deals could potentially be done and how people could potentially be compensated going forward and change because of what we went through in 2020. Again, I hope everyone is staying safe out there in 2020 right now as we end the year. Got 1 month to go, everybody. And again, everything that you know with Young Other is in the description of this podcast. Also, please check out MVK Music Group, as well as we'll be interviewing a couple more of their bands coming up rather soon in this string of the month. So yeah, just be sure to check them out and get to know with some of those bands before they appear in the podcast. Bands like Seven Stone Riot, The Dev, and Chout will all be on the podcast. So make sure you mark your calendars, folks, because these are going to be some good ones. We're going to keep bringing the great conversation about the emerging bands in the scene to you to help you get into them and also expand your knowledge on what they're going through right now and different ideas on how the music industry could change. I mean, this is a great way to get in the know with it. So with that in mind, that's going to be for me today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening to the Chord Progression podcast. But my MSOTD rocks where rock and metal thrive. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes with a big, healthy, and hearty see ya. Yeah.